My name is Josie Meléndez, and I'm here with the CherryPicks, and I was able to watch this movie. I missed it at Toronto, so I'm so happy I was able to catch it for this interview, and you guys have had quite the run with Baby Ruby. What has been your favorite part of the experience so far?
For me, just being able to share the film with audiences and seeing people's reactions. When you are making something, you get so deep inside of it that you don't really know how people are going to receive it. And just seeing people laugh and be scared and be moved and relate to it in very intense personal ways, that has been really just the most beautiful part of sharing it with the world.
Sorry, it was in general or just for Toronto, or
In general.
What was the best part of doing this movie?
Yes, what has been your favorite experience?
Me, I would say it's hard to choose, because being on set since the beginning, since I discovered the Bess and her script, and then the shooting, I don't know, I'm so excited when I go, I don't know if I can say that like that, but I go in the head of a woman who say and want to share things in a very intelligent and artistic way, because it's things that we have been missing so much for so long time. So when you discover and you have the chance to work with someone like Bess, and you can catch this amazing sensibility, and I'm not a mother, but I want to have this experience shared, because it is so, I don't know, it is so important, but to share it in that way, so I don't know, cathartic in a way. And so she was not scared of showing things in sometimes scary way. And I don't know, she put herself in danger. I mean, she stepped out of her comfort zone, and I love that. And for me, it was the same when I was on set. I was out of my comfort zone, and I loved that. And so I would say the shooting was amazing, and with kids, and with all the cast. It was amazing. For when it was out in Toronto, I was so scared, because for me the shooting was so intense and short, and it was like, so I was very scared. I was too much scared to really enjoy the moment.
Understood. And it's actually interesting to say that you could have fooled me. I would have sworn that you were a mother, because the essence that you carried in the character was so convincing. And it reminded me of so many people I know that are new mothers right now, and I could see them in you.
Oh, thank you.
Of course.
You. But I think it's feelings that, I don't know, that we can imagine, maybe, because and for me, I think a lot about having a baby, not having a baby. And it's funny, because even I have fears that are in the movie, like I feel like I will be in danger. It's weird. But it is my sensation. And it's true that sometimes I feel ashamed to talk about that. Like, yes, I'm scared to have a baby. I have the feeling that my baby will kill me. Sometimes I have this sensation, and there is no really space to talk about it. Like, yes, we can talk about it, actually. And sometimes it's like Bess delivers in the movie, can be very scary. You can lose yourself, and you can talk about it, I think.
And Bess, for you, you're a multi-hyphenate with so many countless projects under your belt. What drew you to writing this story, and just what inspired you? Because it is so universal. I feel like anyone that has had the question of motherhood can relate to this film.
Yeah, I'm a mother myself, and I think what I found as I went through the experience 3 times, I have 3 amazing children who I love very much, and just need to say that. And I think I felt as I went through it that nothing in our cultural conversation had really prepared me for what this felt like. And I had never seen a depiction of the experience of becoming a mother that was as sort of complicated and big and strange and funny and sad and sort of shattering and opening as the experience felt for me. So I wanted to try to make something that encompassed all of those different colors and that sort of reflected some germ of truth, even though it wasn't an autobiographical portrait of what happened to me, that brought some of the feelings I was most afraid of, as Noémie said, the scariest things to light. And I started taking notes for the script actually when I was pregnant with my 3rd child. And so a lot of it was written sort of as I was going through the experience, and just trying to capture, because the other interesting thing about motherhood is you forget. There's a sort of amnesia that happens to parents. I think that's part of it, is there's this sort of brain wipe afterwards, and people can't really give you advice because they don't really remember. And so I felt this real urgency to remember some of the most frightening parts. So that was another impulse behind it. And Kit actually had a young baby while we were shooting, so he was able also to bring, his experience. And then Noémie, for me, it was kind of perfect that you hadn't been a mother, because the character hasn't been a mother before. So I felt like Noémie was in real time figuring it out the way our character in the film would figure it out. So it's sort of, she was able to just so truthfully embody the experience.
Especially something I was drawn to is the aspect of isolation, because not only do you isolate her mentally and emotionally through postpartum, but also physically as an immigrant. How did you come about deciding that for the character, and how did you embrace and tackle that as an actress, Noémie?
The way I always envisioned Jo, the lead character, to be a fish out of water, to feel very alone. And that was partly why in the script, she had just moved and was just settling in a new place, and she had just left a lot of her world behind. I didn't originally know that Jo was going to be French, but when I found out that Noémie was available and wanted to do it, it really opened up another dimension of the character for me, because I thought, oh, this is even more interesting, because in addition to Noémie being so brilliant as an actress, I was interested in the idea that, Jo had left her culture behind, and I felt that her being from another culture could really help us shine a light on this sort of very unique American attitude toward motherhood, and the sort of facts of just maternal health care in the United States. It's all very subtly laced into the film, but this sense of, Jo has the line in the film of nobody helps mothers in this country, and she's sort of shocked that there's not more support for new mothers in America. And that was a really important thing for me to get across, and having Noémie be French, it just brought that into the film very organically. So it really made the whole film much more interesting when Noémie signed on.
I would say that it was very interesting, this parallel in the movie about being in like motherhood, but being in a place that is new, in a position that is new. And so you have to adapt yourself to a new world. And so the fact that she is, how you say, immigrant, you say?
Foreigner?
Huh?
Foreigner?
It's, because I think the movie talks about it too. It's, I mean, can talk to viewers, to people, to the audience who are not concerned by parenthood. It can, you know, also talk about how you can start to become not crazy but completely lost and in confusion when there is big changes in your life and you have to adapt to a new culture, or yeah, with the baby or whatever, or when you broke up with someone you've been with since a long time, like it's a readaptation. And it changement, and even me, I realize in life, like changement in life can change so much your, like you can start to really panic and don't trust anyone, and start to be paranoid and start to question a lot yourself and the world. And so I think this was very, very interesting. And the fact that I was sometimes confusing because I never stayed that long in America. I was there for 1.5 months, and I was, okay, this is a long time for me. It was the first time, and I had to deal with the English every day. And sometimes I was so exhausting of just, you know, I needed to speak French. I needed to eat the food that I'm used to. And it I think it helps, but I enjoyed a lot being in America. I love to go there, but it's always the same when you have to readapt. It's hard, you know, and I like that.
It's so important to have a routine, and when it's disrupted, you're like, what is life? Who am I?
Yeah.
But also, before I run out of time, I actually have a final question I would really love your insight on. We are told that stories like this are hard to sell, but you're proof that it can be done. What advice would you give to other writers attempting to get these stories out there?
I think anytime you make something that's authentic and from the heart, people see that. Not everyone, you know, but enough people see that. So, of course, there's always going to be conversations about this kind of thing sells and this kind of thing doesn't sell. You know, luckily, women's stories, people are finally waking up to the idea that people want to hear about the female experience, and that women are half of the population and they deserve to have their stories told. But honestly, I mean, it sounds trite maybe, but it's actually hard advice to follow, which is make something authentic and that's truthful, and people will come. It doesn't really matter what the subject matter is, I think, as much as are you being as honest as you possibly can, and are you putting yourself, back to our earlier conversation, outside of your comfort zone? You know, are you out of your depth, sort of emotionally, and are you taking a risk? I think people respond to that, whatever the subject is.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for sitting down with me. I can't wait for people to see this movie. I was hyperventilating a lot of the times. I'm not a mother, but I was like, I've seen people go through this, and I think it's such an important story to tell, and you both handled it so beautifully.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I appreciate that.